Hi, my name is Donna Bledsoe, and I'm going to talk to you about Service Master Clean. This is my evaluation project for the University of Texas at Tyler for HRD 5307060. My report is going to provide an evaluation of a newly formed training program that will help Service Master Clean reduce its employees' turnover and lower its payroll costs in the two franchises it owns. The background of our company is that they are a franchise organization and the owners own two franchises. They're located in the Dallas, Texas area. The reason for the training program is that their labor costs are extremely high, 94% for one company and 67% for the other company due to high turnover. Service Master Clean's primarily a janitorial company, and their primary purpose is cleaning the floors at the big airports and colleges around the area. When I asked them about the program and what something I could do to help, they had no training program in place. The employees were just thrown into the job. The purpose of this training program is to better train their employees and hopefully to reduce turnover and reduce the labor costs. The stakeholders are basically the entire organization, but includes the owners, the managers, the human resource person, all the employees, and the banks that loan them money. The audience is the owners. My evaluation design is Kirkpatrick's taxonomy, level 2 for knowledge, level 3 for behaviors, and level 4 for performance data collection methods and procedures. The variables of success are going to tell us if the performance of the new employees versus what they had seen from the previous employees that just got on the job training. So whether the new employees are better prepared for the job than what the previous employees did. Also, a variable of success would be the reduced turnover of employees and the lower payroll costs. By lowering their payroll costs, they'll lower their unemployment costs for federal and state. My data collection included surveys, face-to-face interviews, and discussion groups. So the first thing we did was to survey the current employees and managers. Not all of them wanted to participate. They had fear for their job for telling the truth. But the owners tried to stress that it was important to the overall success of the company. So the questions were, do you believe you are successful on the job? Did you get adequate training before being put on a job? Is the job harder than you expected it to be? Do you have support on the job that you can ask questions? And then to explain any additional information to the answers on the questions. After 2 weeks of the new hire training, we asked questions of the new hires that were involved in the training. Was there anything in the training program that confused you about your job? Do you believe the training program is successful in your ability to do your job? After the training program, did you perform your job as instructed? Did you have additional questions after the training program while on the job? And would a follow-up session 8 weeks later be beneficial to get more answers and be able to ask questions? We also questioned the managers that were overseeing the new hires during those 2 weeks. Were the new hires better prepared for the job they were performed? Did the new hires retain the knowledge they were taught? Is more training needed than was provided? Did the training program reduce turnover on the job? And would an on-the-job segment of training be helpful? The interview questions that the managers actually discussed with the new hires in a face-to-face interview were, what additional training do you feel would be helpful for your job? And what in the training program was most helpful? Then what can we do to make the new hire process a better experience? The sampling procedure, we used everyone that was involved in the training program. The data analysis was tabulate the results to each question, take into account the open-ended questions, and the manager's replies to the questions held a greater weight than the new hires. The sample included 7 of the 8 new hires. One of the new hires had already quit prior to us providing the survey to the new hires. There were 3 of the managers that oversaw the new hires and the manager who gave the training program. Of the surveys completed by the current employees, they confirmed that they'd received no training before being put on the job and had no experience prior to being hired. The job was definitely harder than expected, and it was not described adequately to them when they were interviewed. And they said that the managers are too busy on the job, usually also doing the work, to train, so all their support comes from the fellow employees that are also on the job. The managers usually don't have the time to just oversee the work. They're also doing the work. So after 2 weeks after the training program was given to the new hires, they were given a survey, and the new hires answered the questions as follows. Overall, the response to the training program was successful. The training program was held over 2 nights, 3 hours each night, and went very fast. They were given a training manual they were encouraged to use on the job. All 7 of the new hires that took the survey reported that they performed the job as instructed. 5 of the 7 reported having additional questions after the training program, and the same 5 said they would like to have a follow-up session. No one reported that the training program confused them. When the managers had a face-to-face interview with the new hires, they found out that the most helpful part of the training program was the step-by-step guide that they were handed out of how to perform each different job. They also found out that additional training was reported, that the new hires would be helped to have an on-the-job or hands-on segment of training, and that most of the hires thought the onboarding process was simple. They said having someone to help them fill out the paperwork was essential. Discussions with the managers included that the new hires were better prepared for the job than the new hires that were just thrown on the job. The new hires retained most of the knowledge, but the managers thought it was thrown at them too short of time. They needed additional time to learn the job. The manager said that on-the-job training session would be helpful, and the managers reported that it was too early to check for reduced turnover. We only had 1 quit in the first 2 weeks, and so that was a positive on their part. The training program was not confusing and very true to the jobs that would be performed. The owners were in on the first training session, so they saw what was going on. They believed an on-the-job segment would be helpful after the initial training program. They agreed that the step-by-step manuals would be helpful to refer to in the first couple weeks of being on the job, and the owners hoped the training program would be a success and reduce their turnover rate. Discussions was with the owners and the human resource person, and my recommendations following the training was that there was an on-the-job training session should be the 3rd night of the training program. As the managers had agreed to rotate teaching the training classes, they decided that it was too hard for them to miss the nights that they were supposed to be the managers on the job, and that a permanent trainer should be hired, and that person would also be able to do follow-ups and observation on the job so that the new hires could ask questions, and it needed to be someone bilingual. Most of these employees that are being hired are immigrants and speak very, very little English, so they need someone that they can talk to that speaks Spanish. And then we also encourage the new hires to take the training manuals with them on the job for the reference on the step-by-step instructions. The owners decided that the new hire training program was a success. I helped assist in hiring of a permanent trainer and will follow up to make sure that they are doing the job as designed. There's a potential to save these two franchises. Over the last 3 years, they've not shown a profit, and the labor rate has increased over and over. They're trying to get the labor rate in the 40% level instead of above 67 to 94% as it keeps increasing. Which, if they, with the new training program, we should be able to lower the payroll costs by reducing the turnover and keeping employees on the job. Are there any questions?